So what does a resort town on the French Riviera have to do with the Indian automotive market? Watch this video to find out more. Back in 1995-96, when the Korean company Hyundai, and I'm driving a Hyundai i20 N-Line right now, when the Korean company Hyundai was deciding to come to India in its first major international expansion ever, I mean, they had been selling a few cars in Europe, but those were made in Korea. This was one of the first factories they were putting up outside the Republic of Korea. They had taken a bet on the Indian market. India had recently liberalized. A lot of other car makers had just come into the Indian market, such as General Motors and Ford, both of whom have left the Indian market since, as well as Hyundai's Korean competitor Daewoo Motors. That's another story for another time. Hyundai has gone on to become one of India's most successful car makers, the second largest player in the Indian market, and alongside its sister company Kia Motors, also part of the Hyundai Motor Group, they have become possibly India's most profitable car makers. But their entry into India is a fascinating one. Whereas Ford and General Motors came into the Indian market with expensive sedans, Ford came in with the Escort and General Motors came in with the Opel Astra, Hyundai, thankfully, decided to come in with a small car, small hatchback, the concept of a tall boy hatchback. Now, we all know this car as the Santro in India. But the Santro wasn't called the Santro in international markets. It was actually called the Atos. Now, in a previous video I did, where I interviewed Skoda India brand director Zach Hollis, he said one of the most vital things about naming a car is phonetics and how easily it rolls off the tongue. This is why several car makers actually name cars specific to a certain market. Executives at Hyundai thought that Atos may not roll off the Indian tongue all that well, and they needed to come up with a unique name for this product for the Indian market, other than of course touching it up for the Indian market and making modifications and so on and so forth. So a group of Hyundai marketing executives, including BVR Subbu, from whom I heard this story many years ago, went to the French resort town of Saint-Tropez. Saint-Tropez is the last place you would associate with cheap, sturdy hatchbacks. This is a place where the rich and famous mingle. It is a place you're more likely to see a Ferrari or even a Panani Zonda rather than a Hyundai hatchback. So sitting at a hotel over there, somebody, and we don't know exactly who, came up with the brainwave. Why not name the car Santro? Why Santro? Well, it's a portmanteau of Saint-Tropez, San and Tro. No, really, it is. So the name Santro is actually from Saint-Tropez. And if you've seen a first generation Hyundai Santro or even a second generation Hyundai Santro, Saint-Tropez is the last thing on your mind. But the name stuck. It was an easy name for the Indian population across the board, and you know, we have very different ways of speaking across this very vast country, from the north to the south, from the northeast, the east, and the west. Everybody pronunciations are very complicated, and we'll get to a brand name that went wrong in another video. Do keep watching. But the name Santro stuck, alongside a very successful ad campaign by the then extremely popular Shah Rukh Khan. I'm not saying Shah Rukh Khan is not unpopular today, but Shah Rukh Khan, in the late 90s, but mid to late 90s, was at the height of his popularity. He associated with this up-and-coming Korean brand, and the Santro became a runaway hit. It forced Maruti to make changes. We got the Wagoner as a result. And the rest, as they say, is history. But yeah, that's the story of a French Riviera town and a small hatchback for the Indian market. Thank you for watching. Do like, subscribe and comment. It really does help. We've hit about 3,500 subscribers now, but we want to get up there more, and that really helps my videos reach out to a larger audience. Thank you for watching again.